It's P1 Superstock and it's the toughest race of the year.
Not good thing at the back.
We're on the beautiful Isle of Wight for the Cowspool Cows Grand Prix of the Sea. This is the Monaco of powerboat racing and we're expecting a great race. We're just over halfway through the season with 3 rounds gone, Jersey, Plymouth and Hull, and what a season it's been.
And what a superb location for the season opener.
Where are we going? Okay, aim quick me.
That's number 50 in the hands of John Wilson, who've made a great start. Delight 2 for Team Purple in the P150 class. Big air for Rupert Pugh and Edoch. And it's the perfect start to the campaign for John Wilson and Neil Scarborough.
That sets the scene for the races to come, and these points could be vital by the time we've raced all the way to Liverpool at the end of the season. And unseasonal bad weather greeted the teams in Plymouth.
All going to be very tight. It's a left-hand turn, and it's Edoch to lead. Patem's forced wide, with Peters and May squaring off the turn. Here come the P150 competitors, much more nimble than the Panthers around the turn. Still very tight in the P150s. But they've certainly arrived with a bang. It's Edoch on the outside, closest to the camera. Peters and May on the inside of the turn. John Wilson and Neil Scarborough in the Patem's craft know they're in a fight. And it looks like Edoch has the advantage, but can they turn in time? Well, what a day it's turning out to be for this crew. There's the checkered flag.
And that makes it double top in both classes. Team 88 a strong second in Panther 250, while the P150 trio cement their title order firmly in place. Not much time to celebrate. Round 3 next in Hull.
Left a little bit.
It looks like a great start for Vince and Jay Berridge in Black Magic. They're ahead of Team Fox and trying to stay with the leading P150 crews of Team Purple and Eclipse.
Sorry. Like it.
This is Team Fox and Team Purple side by side in P150. This is Flying Sparks. Whoa! It's turning into some race in the P150s. The Thames continue to come under pressure. There they go. 5 races, 3 different winners this season. John Wilson and Neil Scarborough know from experience it doesn't get much better. It's one of the toughest sports on the planet.
And the round 3 positions are a replay of round 2, but with more points on the board. And can anyone beat these two crews as we go to the next round?
The Isle of Wight is the largest island of England and is located just 4 miles off the coast of Hampshire with a population of 130,000. Separated from the mainland by a strait called the Solent, the island and its coastal waters have proven very popular with boating enthusiasts over the years. The first America's Cup race took place around the island in 1851 and the first powerboat race in 1961, which was the brainchild of Lord Beaverbrook and has set in place a history which continues today. This tradition is centred on the town of Cowes, which has a renowned maritime history for hosting several racing regattas, including the longest running regular regatta with over 8,500 competitors. New to the P1 Superstock family this year is the exciting and adrenaline-fuelled jet ski racing on the sea, the awesome 300 brake horsepower Aquacross.
And awesome is just the right word to describe this sport, and if you thought jet skis were only for fun, then think again. These machines are capable of reaching phenomenal speed across the open water and doing it in spectacular style as well. Runaway leader in the Elite 300 class, Russell Marmon, has won all 6 races so far. And he made it another clean sweep, leading from pole to the finish, ahead of fellow Kawasaki rider Richard Cable, with Ben Vine coming in 3rd behind them. Paul Attiwell took the spoils in the amateur 300 class ahead of Lukas Titowski on his debut and Matt Shipley. The championship leader, Dave Huddlestone, could only manage 4th place. Duncan Johnston became champion in the amateur 200 class after finishing 2nd behind another debutant and Solent Skiers Club teammate Andy Steele. Newcomer Steele stole the show in race 1, putting his local knowledge to good use. And another rider making his first appearance in the class is P1 Superstock racer Azam Ali, who is racing in both series this weekend. Race 2, Russell Marmon continued his unbeaten streak to 8 races and became the inaugural P1 Aquacross Elite 300 champion. Newly crowned amateur 200 champion Duncan Johnston took his 7th win from 8 starts in race 2, while Steele finished a remarkable 2nd, but it was the amateur 300 series where all the action was happening as championship leader Dave Huddlestone struggled once again in the rough swell of the Solent, having to work as hard to hang on to the jet ski as he was to retain his championship lead. But it was all to no avail, as Paul Attiwell, with his brace of wins, moves 7 points clear of Huddlestone in the title race, and they're heading off now into the final showdown in Liverpool.
Join us after the break for the toughest race of the year. Welcome back to the P1 Superstock Grand Prix of the Sea. As I said earlier, this is the toughest race of the year on the cruise and the boats.
And now let's have a look at the course the crews are racing today, and it needs a careful study because it's rather different to the usual 2-mile layout they've raced on so far this year. It's 10 times longer, and it really is preparation intense. There's no substitute for chart time. They'll all have done their navigational homework and prepared the boats for these really tough conditions.
We've raced in a couple of bays, we've raced on a couple of rivers, and now we're properly out at sea.
You're in probably some of the busiest waters in the world.
Getting the navigation right is key, because if you go the wrong way, you can lose 10 miles.
It can be a very confused sea out in the Solent, and then Poole Bay is notorious for big rollers.
It's going to be a real test of endurance of the boat, ourselves.
It's real survival of the fittest crew.
And finding the smoother water to get the speed, so you've got many more variables in the race.
And it's not a case of actually probably getting your boat home the fastest, but get your boat home in one piece and across the finish line. and obviously a bit quick.
Before that, some extra entertainment for the crowd. 17-year-old Jack Moole, currently one of the best freestyle jet ski riders in the world. He'll be competing at the World Championships in the USA in a couple of weeks' time, where he obviously hopes to become champion. So, we wish him luck, and we'll keep you posted on his progress here on P1 Superstock. A one-make series like this can only be completely even-handed with a single engine supplier, one who's happy to put the product in the toughest showcase of all, like this weekend.
It was a long process to start with. We were introduced by one of our dealerships who's heavily into racing, and there we met Robert Wicks, and then the snowball started to gather momentum.
No qualifying, no match races. Just a big event ahead, 2 laps of that daunting course for the longest and toughest race of the year. And though the champions-elect may look pretty cool, calm and collected, some of the crews are taking on this sort of thing for the very first time. Or at least some of the crew members are.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about P1 Superstock, it's because it's very different. It's more of a mini endurance race for us. Most of the teams are used to the tight circuits. I've done this race twice before and in really rough conditions, and I like it because it's more of a challenge.
This is my first ever race, so I have nothing to compare to, but I mean, it should be fun. It's a lot longer than circuit races, but I don't know what to expect.
They're mustering at the start now, trying to gauge the water, but it's a long course. The furthest buoy 20 miles from here, with the mixed swell of the Solent on the outward leg and the notoriously rough waters of Poole Bay on the way back. This race will be unlike anything else this year, and as we've heard, keeping everything together is the first priority, and that may not be so easy. Coming up to the start though, positions taken at random, but it's a perfect formation. Both classes together now, but just watch the P1 Panthers make the break. When it goes green, this one will be all about power, using it well and getting the navigation right.
That's a good heading.
And they're heading out on this 8-mile run through the roughest waters on the course. The Needle's off to port, and the first turn at Two Boys somewhere dead ahead, and already the Panthers surging ahead. This is Martin Colligan and Liam McDermott in Team Fox. A good finish might help them up the championship ladder, but there's a long way to go before they can think like that. John Wilson and Neil Scarborough lead in Pertemps, Edox second, Helvetia Well third, and this looks like problems for Andy Wilby and Johnny Elbert in Typhoon. It looks fairly terminal. But as Typhoon drops back, the leaders are streaking away.
You don't coax it, okay? Okay, good. Come right slightly, 5 degrees, John. Okay.
Good instructions from Neil Scarborough, navigating John Wilson towards that unseen buoy somewhere out there on the water at over 30 knots. And you can see how hard it is to keep the boat in the water, and you can see the shocks it's taking, bouncing from crest to crest. Trimmed absolutely flat, with the pilots doing a great job of balancing the boats for the conditions. Championship leader Pertemps pulling away from Edox as it slows and stops in the water. Well, here's the penalty for being more aggressive with the throttle. Rupert Pugh and Anthony Crossley flying Edox, a real hard impact, so nearly so much worse. Pertemps streaking past as they slow to assess the damage. And back on it again, and that was a lucky escape. Look how far out of the water it got, so nearly backflipped. Rupert Pugh really pushing it to the limit, and if you want to know how strong these boats are, there's your answer. Look how hard this is, even when nothing goes wrong.
Heading okay? Perfect. Big one. What? That's the highest we've been. Yep. And again. Right that dot again, John. I know it's hard to steer. Big one.
You can hear how hard Neil Scarborough and John Wilson are working, and that goes for everyone else as well. It looks smooth and silky on TV, but the reality is a lot more brutal. Peters and May nearest us. Nick Daly looking flat and faster behind. Here's Shelley, Jory Lee and Dan Smith. Endurance racing, tough for women anyway, but Shelley's still not fully fit after a huge accident in Sardinia last year.
Good. Keep going, keep going. Retired. Keep going. You're on course. Come right a little bit. That's it. Keep the boat in one piece and we'll be laughing. Okay, I'm trying.
Dan Smith telling her not to linger after slowing to make sure the crew are okay, but you can see they're waving to let her know.
Oh, that hurt. You alright? Yeah, that really hurt. Sorry, mate. Oh, big one. Yeah. Oh. And again. And again. Oh! And again. You alright? You need me to stop?
That's the kind of battering they're taking, and that's what brought them to a halt. Darren Hook here, drafted into the Peters and May boat alongside David Harwood, has lots of good offshore experience, and he's using it to get a run on Simon Bales and Philippa Baker in Team 88. The water is flatter here. Now they've turned across the mouth of Poole Bay and they're heading towards Swanage, and there might be more for the crews to do than just hang on tight and keep it pointing in roughly the right direction.
Heading okay? Perfect.
And that's exactly what it is. The championship leaders quite literally on course for another win. Here's the P150 battle, still in the much rougher waters on the run out to the turn at Two Boys, and you can really see how much the shorter length of these boats gives them a much bigger challenge in these conditions. And here's that all-female crew, and you can see how physical